Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Allan Hubley. I'm the Councillor for Kanata South Ward and your Master of Ceremonies for today's event. Before we begin, a quick reminder to mute your microphones, please. Today we will be hearing remarks from Karen McCrimmon, our MP for Kanata Carleton, and she will be speaking on behalf of the Honourable Catherine McKenna, Canada's Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. We'll also be hearing from the Honourable Dr. Merrilee Fullerton, MPP for Kanata Carleton and Minister for Long-Term Care, on behalf of the Honourable Laurie Scott, Ontario's Minister of Infrastructure, and also our Mayor, Your Worship Jim Watson, Mayor of the City of Ottawa. So available for questions from the media following the above statements. We will also have Karina Duclos, Director of Infrastructure Services, Kevin Weary, the Manager of Parks and Facilities Planning, Paul Landry, the Program Manager, Parks and Facilities, and Mike Russett, our Planner. Also attending is my colleague, Jenna Suds, Councillor for Kanata North, and the Katimavik Community Association is being represented by Haley Bennett and Matt Brewery. After we hear from the panelists, we will take questions from the media led by Jordan Collicutt, Parliamentary Assistant to Karen McCrimmon. So we can now begin remarks with Karen McCrimmon, our MP, please. Welcome, Karen.
Oh, thank you, Allan. Thank you, Merrilee and Jim and Jenna. Hey, here's the A-team, and we're all together today. It's so good to see you all. I know it's been a while since we've been able to meet in person, but this is really worthy of a celebration. And I just wanted to let you know how good it is to see you. I'm just so pleased that everybody could participate today. And I think we will start by acknowledging that this project is taking place today on the unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin people. And we have been, since last March, now it's over a year, Canadians have been impacted by COVID. And from coast to coast, people have been reaching out inside their communities and looking after each other and being there for one another through really some difficult times. And I think this is what this spending, what this funding is working towards. It is all about developing community, having a place for a community where the heart is. I mean, and Merrilee, that Dr. Fullerton was just saying how much time she spent at the KRC with her family as they were playing hockey. I'm sure Jenna and Allan, you've done the same thing. There's so much good work that goes on at the KRC. And so we're really pleased that we can be part of this. The federal government is contributing $1.8 million to this. And I know this is all about collaboration. This is all about partnerships. And that's how we're going to be able to build things better for all Canadians. So I think it's so important to acknowledge that right now, it's kind of hard because we can't go to the heart of our community, which is our community centers. But we want to make sure that we're in a position where we can renovate and protect these critical spaces for years to come. And I think it matters greatly to the members of the community. So the good news is that investing in infrastructure, it's going to happen, and there's going to be more of it, because we actually believe that that's how we build a stronger community, and that's how we build a better future for all Canadians. So this investment is for today, or maybe in the near future, but it's also for tomorrow. So we build great things as great nations, and that's exactly what the government is contributing to. And that's why we recognize that working together with our municipal and provincial partners is really when we can best serve the people of this nation. So I just wanted to say it's so good to have you all here today. Thank you for being here with us. And we're really pleased to be able to be a partner in this significant improvement and renovations, especially for all of Kanata. This is a place where people gather and where they come together and strengthen those community bonds. So I'm really pleased that we could be here today to be part of this. Thank you, Allan.
I think you're on mute, Allan. I'll take that as my cue, though.
I'm sorry. Yeah, nerves. My apologies. Thank you, Karen, for MP McCrimmon for your kind words. And next up is MPP Fullerton. Go ahead, Minister, when you're ready.
Thank you so much, Councillor Hubley, and thank you for the important words to my colleague, MP McCrimmon. And so it really is a pleasure to be here today. And we were talking a little bit beforehand, saying, it really is a center. The Kanata Recreation Center is really the center of our community for sports, for hockey, and the park that's nearby, and how many hours that I have spent as a parent with my children and my family at the KRC and the surrounding parklands. So this is it gives me tremendous pleasure to be able to be here on behalf of my colleague, Laurie Scott, who is the Minister of Infrastructure, and on behalf of the Ontario government. As has been mentioned, this is a triple layer of government, federal, provincial, and municipal, who are coming together to collaborate and make this happen. And Ontario is providing more than $1.4 million in provincial funding for the renovation and expansion of the Kanata Rec Centre in Ottawa. So this will include new meeting rooms, installation of an emergency exit stairwell, upgrades to the facilities lobby by adding a customer service center. And again, I go back to the number of times that people attend the KRC and the area. It truly is a hub. And it also includes improving and enlarging the nearby splash pad at Walter Baker Park. So as COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted, investments in the health and wellness of Ontarians is more critical than ever before. The 2021 budget released on March 24th by the Ontario government builds on record investments made in response to the global pandemic, bringing total investments to $16.3 billion to protect people's health and $23.3 billion to protect our economy. And I've said many times, we need lives to have livelihoods. Health must come first. And this is evident in the budget and in terms of the actions that we've undertaken. So from our provincial government, $10.2 billion is coming to support the economy and the projects we're building. So it's about health and safety for our communities across Ontario through our federal provincial partnership. And so I would also like to thank Mayor Jim Watson and our federal partners for their contributions to the meaningful efforts that we are undertaking and announcing today. So thank you all for being part of this collaboration, and very much appreciate the comments by my colleague. And now I will have Councillor Hubley pass it over to Mayor Watson. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, MPP Fullerton. Really appreciate all your help with this. And next up is our Mayor, Jim Watson, to say a few words.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Allan. This is a very exciting day, I know, for you and your constituents. And it's great to see Dr. Fullerton with us and MP Karen McCrimmon and all three levels of government working together. Of course, our colleague Jenna Suds, who has a beautiful Richcraft Recreation Center in her ward. And now it's time for Kanata South to upgrade the Kanata Rec Center, which, as both the member and the minister pointed out, are a real hub in the community, a real gathering spot. Not these days, but once we win the battle of COVID, we'll see people back in there playing hockey and playing in the splash pad at Walter Baker Park. Je vous dis merci beaucoup à les deux autres paliers du gouvernement pour votre bon travail. C'est important pendant cette période de travailler ensemble avec le gouvernement de l'Ontario et du Canada. Et je dis merci beaucoup à vous tous. Excusez-moi. I also want to give a special thank you to Allan. Allan, this has been one of his projects on his wish list for a long time. He's been very diligent and dogged about it, and I've had lots of phone calls and conversations with Allan about the importance of this in the community, because the KRC is a great facility, but it's showing its age, like all of us are, and it needs a little bit of tender loving care. And this is a great investment to upgrade this wonderful community facility. Last week, the federal, provincial, municipal governments got together in the Ottawa Vanier area with another exciting initiative, the outdoor pool at Optimus Park. And we really enjoy these kinds of announcements because they have the greatest impact on the largest number of people, the people that use these facilities. It's not in the hundreds, it's in the thousands on a weekly basis. So I just want to say thank you to Allan for your great lobbying efforts to get this project on the provincial and federal lists, to thank the federal government and the provincial government for seeing the importance of these kinds of recreation facilities in our community and the thousands of people that will use it. Nous comptons tous sur ces installations pour interaction sociale et pour faire de l'exercice dans la communauté de Canada Sud. And as I said, these are important for the well-being, physical and mental well-being of our fellow citizens. I know that we've talked about some of the work that's going to be done. Just to highlight that, we'll see the renovation expansion of the facility, improvements to the nearby splash pad, and new meeting and program rooms. I know when Allan, you and I and Jen have been at community meetings, always tight for space, so that's a welcome addition. And upgrading the lobbying by adding an entrance, vestibule, and new customer service center, as well as an emergency exit stairwell. So a lot of this is not sort of fancy things to do. It's really life cycle maintenance and public safety that are vital to the fulfillment of our goal to have safe, inviting and welcoming recreation centers in all of our wards across the city. So thank you again. This is, as I said, a happy moment. I know Allan is bursting with pride because the KRC has been a mainstay in his life, not just as an elected official, but also as a parent. So it's a pleasure to be at this announcement, even though it's virtually, and look forward to seeing us all, hopefully, when some of the work gets done, that we can go and visit the site in person. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, Mayor Watson, for your kind remarks. I want to take a moment here now, too, to say that this is an example of what can be done when the three levels of government work together on a project. Without the personal and direct involvement of MP McCrimmon and MPP Fullerton, this would not have happened. They helped steer us through the bureaucracy of the various levels of government, and we've had many conversations over the year about how to move this to the next step and everything, and I can't thank you both enough for what you did to help make this happen. We would not be looking at this exciting future for this location if not for your involvement. Later this year, we will begin rolling out the plans for the work to be done that was announced today, and that will happen in the weeks and months ahead. But for today, I just want to thank each of you for your efforts to make this happen. And as MP McCrimmon said, today is the day to celebrate this. So thank you all for being part of this. Jordan, did you want to start the next part?
Most certainly. Thank you, Councillor Hubley. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour à tous. Before we begin, just a reminder to please place your microphone on mute until I invite the news outlet in question to ask their question. Avant de commencer, j'aimerais vous rappeler de désactiver votre microphone jusqu'à ce que je vous invite à poser votre question. I will now invite questions from each agency alphabetically, beginning with CBC, followed by Le Trois, then Ottawa Community Voice, and then Radio-Canada. You may ask one question with one follow-up about the projects announced today. Nous allons maintenant répondre aux questions de chaque organisme par ordre alphabétique. Vous pouvez poser une question et aussi une question de suivi au sujet des projets qui ont été annoncés aujourd'hui. Again, a reminder to just remain on mute until I invite you to ask your question. We'll now begin with CBC. One question and one follow-up if you wish.
Hi there. First to Councillor Hubley. I know you spend a lot of time there. I'm wondering if you could just describe, what residents would see in a before and after, and what difference you think it would make for them?
Certainly. There's some of the infrastructure pieces, as the mayor alluded to, for example, the front doors. What exists there today are individual doors. So when they're all open and a lot of people are coming in, that can be a very cold place to be. We're going to put in a set of double doors, which will save a lot of money for heating the facility, but also make it much more comfortable and welcoming a place for people to be. So that's just one example of the piece. The program rooms, we're always short of program space, as you're well aware. Kanata South and North and Stittsville are growing communities. This is our biggest facility. This is where we go to for all the big meetings in the area. Then there's also the fun side of things, the splash pad. Both levels of government, along with funds from the city government, we're going to do a major upgrade on that splash pad. So for me, it's one of the things that's very exciting because I have 3 grandchildren now. And so I'm back into that cycle personally that many of the young families in the community experience, where you're looking for activities like a splash pad to take your kids to.
Okay, great. My second question is for Mayor Watson. Mayor Watson, I'm just wondering, taking a look at the stay-at-home order, it looks very much like what it looked like in January, but I wondered if you had any comment about the approach you see for enforcement this time around, like what?
I think you just cut off there, Kate, but I think I got most of the question. I don't know if Kate is still there.
Should residents accept in terms? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you just repeat it? Just got cut off just for the last 10 seconds.
It's this unstable internet that you see. Just wondering how proactive you see bylaw being this time around.
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, as I said in my statement yesterday, I'm very pleased that the province has brought the big box store issue under control, because we saw on Easter weekend the huge lineups at IKEA and Walmart and Costco, and it was defeating the purpose of stay at home. So very thankful for the province in doing that and ensuring that those stores are only selling essential items such as groceries and pharmaceuticals, and they are no longer going to put our small businesses at a disadvantage. With respect to enforcement, the staff at Bylaw and Regulatory Services will be going out proactively, particularly the big box stores, to make sure they're following all the rules and regulations, working with the Labor Ministry inspectors who have that responsibility. They'll continue to react when they get calls from members of the public if they call 311. But they'll also be going proactively throughout the city, because this is, we have to get this right this time, once and for all. We want to put this virus behind us. And, I'm hearing reports, excuse me, of, people gathering, 30 or 40 in a park and not respecting social distancing. I urge people to please, enjoy the park, but stay, 2 meters away. And unless you're playing with your own family, you shouldn't be playing pickup basketball games, for instance, in parks. This is the way the virus spreads. So, the vast majority of our residents follow the rules and regulations and are being good citizens, but it's that small minority that ruin it for everyone else. And I think, this is a really great opportunity for us to finally separate ourselves from the virus by staying at home unless it's for essential reasons. And my hope is that those people who are continuously abusing the rules and the laws and the bylaws think long and hard about the consequences it would have if you come home with a virus and infect a grandparent or a parent or a loved one. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll now proceed to 2 questions from le 3. Le 3, une question et une question si vous voulez.
Oui, I'll ask in English. I don't know who wants to take this one, but I'm just curious about the timing of the works that needs to be done. Since we, knock on wood, are getting closer to being able to use facilities like this one in Ottawa. So will it have any impact on the availability of the facilities and some of the aspects of it that can be used by the public?
Maybe I can try to answer that for you. The facility is currently closed until September, so we have an opportunity now to get some of this work started. There's more of it. For example, when we talked about the splash pad, we're looking at probably next year before that splash pad is completed. And I see Karina shaking her head, so that tells me that's the case. So it's going to take a while for this work to be done, but staff is always very aware of the community's needs as well. So what can be done will be done up front.
Okay, so when we can use the facility again, the impact on the availability of services and everything will be minimal, basically.
Right. For example, if Canada Day is allowed to go forward this year, which, at this point, we don't have any indication of that. Right now, with the variants, we're basically into a whole new pandemic here, as far as I'm concerned. I think my colleagues would probably agree. So we don't know if Canada Day is going to happen this year, but if it does, that's the outdoor part of the facility. It doesn't use the indoor. So it wouldn't impact that. It would be more the pandemic that would impact Canada. Karina, did you want to add anything to this about the scheduling or anything?
Yes, Councillor, thank you so much. So we are dividing the project into two phases. The first phase will be the splash pad, and you are correct. So the design is going to start, and the construction is expected to start in the spring of 2022. Regarding the renovations inside the facility, that there's a lot of work to be done, which is going to be awesome at the end. The design is going to start this year, and we are going to start construction either next year, maybe late in the year, or the following year, spring of 2023. It depends on how long it takes the design to be completed. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We don't know how we are going to be with COVID at that point. And we are trying to use when we have facilities closures as an opportunity to advance construction, so the interruption and the impacts to the community users is minimized.
Yes.
I hope that helps.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. We'll now have two questions from the Ottawa Community Voice.
Thank you. Most of my questions were asked, but I just wanted to confirm, it was mentioned what the investment is from the federal and provincial governments. What is the exact investment from the City of Ottawa? Hello?
Councillor, do you want me to take that question?
Yes, please.
Yes, the City of Ottawa investment is 1.2 million.
Thank you. And my other questions were asked by previously. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We'll now have two questions from Radio-Canada.
Oui, bonjour. Moi, mes questions vont être pour le maire Watson. Ça serait en ce qui concerne l'ordre de rester à la maison qui est en vigueur depuis minuit hier. Comment on va s'assurer à Ottawa que cet ordre-là va être respecté par les citoyens dans les prochaines semaines?
Bien, merci pour la question. On travaille avec nos agents de règlement pour la ville d'Ottawa. Ils visitent des magasins, par exemple, pour déterminer est-ce qu'ils suivent le règlement provincial et municipal. Et on va faire ça proactive, pas seulement quand on a reçu un appel. S'il y a un problème dans un parc ou une maison, la population avait le droit de parler, de composer 311 pour donner l'information à nos agents. Ça, c'est une situation très sérieuse et c'est important pour toute la population de suivre les règlements provincial et municipal à ce moment. Merci.
Une question de suivi, ça serait en ce qui concerne les amendes pour des rassemblements ou est-ce que c'est quelque chose qu'on pourrait envisager, mettre en application comme un peu le fait le Québec en ce moment là, avec les rassemblements ou bien avec le manque de respect des consignes? Est-ce qu'à Ottawa, on pourrait voir ça justement, des amendes?
Bien, on avait des amendes de 800 $ si une personne ne suit pas des règlements. Alors, ça coûte cher pour une personne de ne respecter pas la loi. Et ça, c'est la province qui déterminait le niveau et le prix pour une amende. Et je pense que c'est important encore de continuer de dire merci à la grande moitié de la population qui suivent des règles, mais à la petite minorité qui ne suivent pas, c'est une bonne chance que cette personne va recevoir une amende de 800 $. Alors, ça coûte beaucoup de l'argent pour faire un barbecue chez vous pour quelques heures. C'est une situation très sérieuse. C'est une situation qui n'est pas bon certainement pour la santé d'une personne, mais pour toute la communauté. On voit des chiffres à l'hôpital. Tous les hôpitaux ont des grands défis. Et c'est le temps de tout le monde, tous les résidents d'Ottawa, de respecter la loi et respecter les agents de bylaw, parce que nous sommes dans une crise de santé et économique. Et ça, c'est une occasion pour nous autres de quitter cette crise pour ouvrir plus d'économie dans probablement août ou septembre. J'espère que ça, c'est le cas.
Okay.
Merci.
Merci. Thank you. That's all the time we have for questions today. C'est tout le temps dont nous disposons aujourd'hui. I'll pass it back over to Councillor Hubley for closing statements.
Thank you very much. I got an overly sensitive mute button. So thank you to each of you for being here today. It very much appreciated. And all the work, as I mentioned earlier, I really want our residents to know how much MPP Fullerton and MP Karen McCrimmon worked together with us to make this happen, and behind the scenes how much was done. So very, very much appreciated. I look forward to getting the project started. So thank you all. This concludes the conference today.